Welcome back to Visions. I'm Megan Searle, and our guests this evening are Kurt Esser and Jessie Taylor from the Justice Project. Welcome back. Now, what can we do now? Like, I believe that it's only been shelved, this bill.
So far it's been shelved. Yeah. The government no doubt will have another attempt to get the numbers, persuade the people who they describe as recalcitrant, etc. People who they think are letting,
I love all those words.
letting the team down.
Yes.
Liberals letting the team down by voting for their conscience. I'm sure the whip will be whipping around and doing what they can to reassemble the numbers.
Absolutely.
And forcing this through. The most important thing, I suppose, for our viewing public is that if they want to do something, if they haven't subscribed already to the online petition through GetUp, they should be encouraged to do so. The response from GetUp has been fantastic, hasn't it, Jess?
First, the aim was 20,000 signatures online at www.getup.org.au. Then they raised it to 35,000. Then they raised it to 50,000 because they just kept meeting these targets. Then they raised it to 75,000, and now they've raised it to 100,000, which I think is their biggest target ever.
That is fantastic.
I checked this morning, and it was up to 86,000. So get online and punch those numbers.
Absolutely. And that is exciting.
It's great. There's just been a groundswell of public support for this, which has been fantastic.
Oh, that's very inspiring, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
There's every expectation that if they get up to 100,000, that will project into a sufficient amount of people power so that hopefully that piece of legislation will be shelved forever.
And that would be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not asking a lot. I mean, after all, the Legal and Constitutional Committee of the Senate that looked into this, into the whole of these amendments, they came to the conclusion that the bill was underdone, poorly thought out, and ought not to proceed at that time.
Excellent.
There were 137 submissions to that inquiry, and one of them was not absolutely condemning. One of them, one of them was from the Department of Immigration and Multicultural Affairs, and that was the only report that didn't absolutely categorically tear shreds off the legislation.
Wow.
So it's been overpowered by a significant factor.
That's incredible.
And yeah, so it's just a bad piece of legislation, which is rotten to the core.
We need to all
recognised
participate
by
to make it doesn't happen.
people even from the Liberal Party as being inadequate and contrary
rushed
to
by the sounds of it.
but contrary to, as I said, the reports of Comrie and Palmer and the Ombudsman.
Yes.
So happily we've seen the end of it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
now,
let's hope.
On to your next project.
Yay.
I believe you're into filmmaking.
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
I've recently been able to get a little bit of funding, just a modest grant from the Victoria Law Foundation and from an organisation called the Donkey Wheel Foundation, which has been fantastic, to make a film about this issue, because particularly for the reasons that I mentioned before, that, having thought this issue was kind of winding up, it's not.
No.
So we're making a film to sort of bring this issue to the awareness of Middle Australia. And what the film actually is we bundled 10 people onto a minibus and we drove the 15 beautiful hours to the Baxter Detention Centre.
Fabulous.
In South Australia.
Trip,
And what we did actually was we put together a fairly carefully selected group of people. I went, my sister went. My sister has never visited a detention centre. She works on Chapel Street. She's in, she works in the fashion and beauty industries. And she's not an idiot by any means, but she's just an ordinary Australian girl who's never been affected by these issues. Her boyfriend is a commerce and economics student, I think, at Monash, who has the slightly sort of, very rationalist, very, down the line,
black and white.
Yeah, sort of. He agrees with quite a lot of the media stuff that he's seen about the issue, and sort of has the the arguments that a lot of Middle Australia would present in defence of the Howard government's policy. There was also an Afghani refugee who came with us. There was also a professor of international human rights law from the European Union who came with us. There was just this broad spectrum of people coming from all sorts of different walks of life who were chucked in a minibus together and went to experience visiting and meeting people face to face at the Baxter Detention Centre.
And is the film in a documentary set sort of way? Or?
It's not as sort of static as a documentary. It's quite energetic. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of energy in it because, you know, it's young people sort of arguing and discussing these issues and raising questions and sort of deducting the answers to their own questions.
Lovely.
Which has been really fantastic to sort of watch the journey from before getting on the bus, this is what I think, this is what I believe,
Yep.
to stumbling out of the detention centre, eyes wide, going, what, you know, what was that?
Yes.
And that journey and that experience is interspersed with stories from refugees and interviews with psychiatrists, with Julian Burnside QC, with former Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser, with a woman who was a guard at Maribyrnong and Baxter detention centres who we've managed to speak to.
Sounds incredible.
It's just a really exciting project, and I can't wait for people to have the opportunity to access this issue.
So where is it at the moment in its process?
We've sort of finished up most of the shooting. We're just doing a little bit here and there of sort of filling in little gaps. But basically, we're in post-production now, and the editing and putting it all together and everything.
And when you've actually got it finished, where will we be able to see it?
Well,
where are you promoting it?
Probably the best thing for me to say at the moment is to look on the Justice Project website, and we'll put a link up to it there to some more information about it. I'm hoping to get it into schools, unis, church groups, refugee advocacy networks. You know, I'd love for it to be put on the Year 10 curriculum or something in Victoria. You know,
it might get around on Channel 31.
Oh, maybe we will.
We need to do some talking. Oh, that's lovely.
And we're also going to enter it in some film festivals and things. Speaking to the European woman who came on the trip with us, she was bamboozled by it. She was thinking, hold on a second, you people get 1,200 refugees, asylum seekers arriving on boats a year. We get that each day.
Wow.
What are you guys complaining about? So she brought that sort of international context into it as well. So, yeah, each person on the bus was chosen for their skills and expertise and, you know, background, and it was just... It's going to be a very interesting film.
It'll be interesting to see what distribution this film gets.
Absolutely.
Because, we think that it's tapping into a very important part of Australian public life, which is now becoming enlivened and sensitive to these sorts of issues. And it'll be a good litmus test of just how responsive the media is and others are to the notion of giving this some airtime. And it'd be great if it got onto one of the major networks, apart from Channel 31. But it's the sort of thing that you'd expect SBS would be interested in, and hopefully the ABC.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's hope, and we definitely will talk about this because I'm sure you'll be back to visit us.
Jess is popular. She'll be back.
She'll be back. Oh, you're both popular. All right, thank you for being our guests tonight.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for watching Visions. Our guests tonight were Kurt Esser and Jessie Taylor from the Justice Project. I'm Megan Searle. Good night and take care.